Hey, Blaise, pardon me. If you could try requesting the microphone in the bottom left corner of your screen. There seems to be some issues here on Twitter today. So let's see if we can get you a microphone that way. I wonder what is going on. Blaise, there is a heart shape in the bottom right of your screen. That's where you click on to send emojis. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? If you could check your messages. Okay, you can't hear me. Okay. So I have sent you microphones. It's not working. So if you just click the request button in the bottom left, but be reminded you need to be on your cell phone, not on a PC. So if you're on a PC, I need you to go ahead and leave this space and go ahead and get on your cell phone. That may be the issue. I'm not sure. Um, and we can see if we can get you up here that way. Hey, Isaac, how are you? Isaac, are you there, buddy?
Yes, I am. Yes, I
Okay. I'm trying to figure out if I'm having technical issues, what's going on. Poor Blaze is trying to get in here, and I can't get him on as a speaker. So not sure what's going on.
That
Um,
happens. Just give it a sec. It'll all figure itself out.
yeah, and when I started
Yeah.
the space, I was sending invites out, and it booted me out. So then I came back in, and then he was having technical issues. And so I was like, well, maybe it's just I need to start a new space. So I started a new space, and I still can't get him up here. But hopefully it is because I'm thinking he may be on his PC and it's not working. So hopefully he'll get on
You know
his
what though?
phone.
Now on that version, it's actually gotten better. It's just it all depends on like what web browser you're using. There's a few factors to it. You know
Well, and
what?
I just tell people never to do it that way because we just don't have time to figure it out when we go live.
Yeah.
So I always just tell everybody on your cell phone, because it is a sure way for it to work, right? So, pardon me. So I'm not sure what is going on, but we all know how frustrating it can be when you can't get onto that space in a proper way. It's
Yep.
very frustrating. So let me bring Miss Shea up. If he wants to come up, you're more than welcome to, Miss Shea. Um,
Let me see here.
yeah.
Here, I just. Oh, well, that's weird. I tried to correct the space title
Oh,
because.
I was just looking at that going, oh, because I was hurrying up. Let me try to do it. I was trying to hurry up to restart the space, and I just noticed I had spelt it wrong. Thank you.
Of course,
Great
of course.
minds, great minds think alike. Hey, Miss Shay, how are you, buddy? I'm
What's up,
doing
my
well,
brother?
thank you.
What's up with it, gang? How you doing?
Oh man, I'm good. I'm good, man. Appreciate you for last night. That was a trip, man.
Yeah, hey, like I
Hey,
said, man, I've been there. I know that. I know that.
man.
Hey, but funny enough, that's another way to know, right? Like
Right,
sometimes they're trying to get you, and you can get them. So it's
right.
cool.
That's what I was trying to do. Shit. Yeah, get you before you get me.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. But nah, man.
Okay, so time out, you guys. I just saw a message from Blaze. Okay, so Blaze, the only other thing, he says he's on on his phone. The only other thing is sometimes when we have folks calling in from another country, there are things on your phone or um, in the background that are prohibiting you from doing certain things on X Spaces. So the only thing I would say is if you could check your settings, because I have sent you the speaker I've sent you a microphone, so to speak, several times. I don't know if it's popped up for you or not. So the only other thing I can think of is there's a setting. There he is. Are you there, Blaise?
Hey, there we go.
Gonna fuck everything up, so my
Oh,
bad.
yes.
That's what
Yes,
it was.
yes. There we go. Yes, I'm glad we figured it out. And definitely forget about the VPNs. But there was somebody, who was it from? Was it from Ireland? Somebody was trying to join us.
I
Yes,
think
it
it was.
was.
I think it was from Ireland. Yep.
Yeah, and there was a setting on her phone that she finally figured out to detoggle it, and it finally worked. And I think we tried that about four days in a row, I think, before we figured it out. But anyway, let me give a proper introduction. First of all, welcome everybody to the longest poker running poker space. I'm the original queen of spaces, the first lady of poker spaces, and the original female of poker spaces. OG, it's all true, but of course it's a troll. Anyway, I'm your host Sherry Pluskota. Appreciate everybody joining us. And as you know, there's always technical issues in X, and we don't care. We're going to do it anyway. So I need to make a couple of announcements. First, I'm hosting the seventh official Spaces meetup game, June 26th at the Bellagio, Las Vegas at 2 p.m. Let me know if you're planning on coming, even if you're a maybe or if it can change, it doesn't matter. We just need some rough numbers to ensure we have enough dealers to start out the day. If you'd like to donate something to the Splash the Pot items, please reach out to me and let me know. Thank you. Also, the Operation Poker Quilt for Charity is underway. It's a tax deduction. I'm sorry, slow down, Sherry. Tax deductible donation through the link that goes directly to the Poker Gives organization. It's $10 for one ticket, $25 for 5 tickets to try to win that one of a kind autographed poker t shirt quilt. Also, I need a huge favor. This week, I celebrated the release of my very first poker related article in Annie Up magazine. Would appreciate it if you check it out and let me know what you think. Pretty excited about that opportunity for sure. Also, I'm going to hit the ground running, and I want to talk about this gentleman that's joining us today. I've really been looking forward to this interview. Uh, Blaise, and I hope I say this correct, Bourgeois, is joining us today. And Blaise is originally from Rochester, New York. He is currently living in Brazil. He attended grad school at St. John's University, earning his degree in sports management and sports analytics. He also earned a mathematics and computer science degree at Purchase College, where he holds the record for most soccer goals in a single season. Blaise spent time playing semi pro soccer in New York and Florida. He has won a sports Emmy, and he has been an Olympic research statistician for NBC. Blaise has currently works with Jaka Coaching as well as Poker.org. Definitely need to mention that Blaise has done poker live reporting at the WSOP, the PSPC, the WSOP Europe, EPT Barcelona, and the Mediterranean Poker Party. Blaise has a total live earnings on the Hendon Mob over 138,000 and is the proud owner of a WSOP circuit ring. His best life cash is over $11,000 for his 20th place finish in the $1,500 main event at the WSOPC Stop in Marrakesh in 2025. Kudos to Blaise for cashing 6 times in the months of March and April this year. 5 of those were in Dublin. So, welcome, Blaise. I'm so glad you're joining us today.
Thanks for having me. That was a very lengthy intro, and I've got to say, is some of the info is actually a little dated now. I'm no longer in Brazil, no longer with Jaka Coaching. I'm currently in England at the moment, but traveling throughout Europe.
Okay, so not living in Brazil, eh?
No, I've been out of
Okay.
Brazil for about 2 years now. I was a digital nomad in Latin America for about 5.5 years. But yeah, I've been in Europe for the last 2 years, dating a British poker player. So we were in England for a bit, but convinced her to get back on the digital nomad lifestyle with me in January. And yeah, we just actually got back to England from a 4-month trip only a couple days ago.
Indeed, I we've kind of been talking in between in emails, and I appreciate those updates because everybody that knows me knows that I rather get it right than wrong. So definitely appreciate those updates. And I'm going to tell you, I find you very fascinating, Blaise, as I kind of started to, as I call it, stalk you or research you for for this interview. And the more I researched, the more impressed I was with your just plethora of accomplishments and what you've done. And you're really not that old of a guy to have done so much and traveled the world and been really knee deep in a lot of stuff. Um, what kind of jobs did you or do you hold in the iGaming industry?
So, yeah, I've held a lot of roles over the last decade. I've worked for just about every single poker company and coaching platform in one way or another. I kind of do a lot of stuff behind the scenes, but I've also done stuff on camera. Right now, I'm working on a project behind the scenes. I'm apologize that I can't really talk about it. I've got an NDA, but I am working on something that I think is going to be really great behind the scenes at the moment. But right now, I'm just kind of settling in and preparing to work the World Cup this summer, and just focused on my poker game as well.
How fun. And you've really kind of dabbled in a lot of, coverage over different sports. Of course, poker being one of them and soccer. And you've also did the analytics at you were a statistician at the Olympics. What year did you do that?
So I've led the stats and research team for the soccer coverage of at NBC for the last three Summer Olympics. So that would be 2016, 2020, and 2024. And I did some contributions to the World Cup in 2022, and I'm gonna be helping run the stats and research department over there for this coming World Cup as well. So I will be in Los Angeles with Fox instead of going to the World Series for the majority of it, but I am gonna go back to WSOP about the 4th of July and play the main event and do a couple events outside of Caesars.
Awesome. Very cool. I think that's amazing. I love the Olympics. I've watched the Olympics my entire life. I actually volunteered at the Olympics in 1996 here in Atlanta. So I am all about the Olympics. So I'm excited that you are working with the Olympics and now the World Cup. And, what a privilege, honestly. I mean, I'm just like when I was reading about it, I was like, what a privilege to have the background to be able to do those things, Blaise.
Yeah, it was actually a crazy story. I was in grad school and I went to some soccer conference and met the guy that was running the Premier League broadcast on NBC Sports, and kind of pulled him aside and just chatted for a while. And then, like, for the next year, every like month or two, I would send him an email, just remind him where I was, showed up to a conference that he was at. And once I got my master's, I kind of just slipped him a my resume, just being like, hey, if you need anything, because my goal at the time was to work on the NBC Premier League broadcasts.
Right.
And then a couple days later, I just he didn't respond to me. He usually gets back to me in a day or two, and about 5 days later, some person from HR was sending me a job offer. I was like, "When's the interview?" And they're like, "No, you got this for." Yeah, I guess somebody dropped out of the Olympics. I was like their bottom bitch over there for the 2016 Olympics. But it was, and back then, pre-COVID, it was, nonstop, like 16, 18-hour days through for 4 weeks straight.
Right.
And it was a crazy time. And yeah, fortunately, they were impressed enough to bring me on for the Premier League broadcast to be a bug producer for a while, which is, if you see the scoreboard when you're watching a game, and sponsors, little sponsor clips
Right.
jump off of that, little stats drop down from that. That was me for the Premier League for about 6 months. And unfortunately, well, I ended up getting a job as the director of a professional football team a short time later, so that stint ended. But fortunately, NBC has wanted me back for each and every Summer Olympics, and at this point, they're right after the WSOP every 4 years,
Right.
and sometimes if WSOP doesn't go well those years, you can just pop on in and get a pretty good paycheck for a few weeks of work.
Right on. And they're building a big soccer training facility not too far from here, from me here outside of Atlanta. It's the big news around town, of course. And people are really excited about it. Um, Tell us how you got into poker.
Yeah, so I was 12 years old at a family party on my dad's side of the family, and basically, I was a math nerd growing up. Just numbers always clicked. I was always reading like almanacs and math books and whatnot. So, watched them, like all these adults play a poker tournament at this party. I was like, what the hell is this? But I couldn't keep my eyes off of it, and then for the next couple months, I would go to my library and read, whatever poker books they had there. In the old days of the internet, like, 2000, 2001, 2002, somewhere around that time. But I would go online and play like Zynga poker and read about certain strategies and whatnot. And then I came back to the next family party and borrowed a 20 from somebody and ended up beating all the adults in some 20-person tournament. And after that, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. And
That's,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
that's hilarious.
but yeah, I mean, it hasn't been able to be, a consistent thing growing up to play poker. I came from a pretty poor family, a poor background, and suffered my way through college and grad school with not too much money. And yeah, so every once in a while, the guy near my dad's house had like a home game that, go
Right.
there for $50. Turning Stone, play a 1-2 game over there once in a great while. But obviously I sucked at poker. So I wasn't winning that much. And then uh I started to get a little bit into it once I started saving some money and having some money for like ACR and GG and whatnot, especially all these sites once I moved out of the US, which is around 2019. And then once COVID happened, I decided to invest in some study software. And the first couple lessons I learned, I was just blown away at how little I knew. And,
It's funny
uh,
how when you start some new content to teach yourself more about the game, how you do have those realizations of, oh my God, what are they even talking about in this chapter?
yeah, and and that was in 2020. And over the course of the last few years, I've been able to, I've been fortunate enough to get myself in positions where I can regularly talk poker with some of the best players on earth, and
Right.
pick their brains and really covering the game, get to watch hundreds of thousands, if not millions of hands, and pick up on these pattern recognitions, and have all this time in my life to go look at solvers and write about hands, and really dive in. And being in a relationship with a poker player, like being able to bounce hands off them and our friends, and the last few years especially, poker's all about those like aha moments where you kind of figure out a concept and it makes sense and it turns a key in your brain. And over the course of time, fortunately, a lot of those keys have been turned, and feeling very fortunate to be in the situation I am today.
Building that muscle, in this case, brain memory, right? Muscle memory of the game. Um, I do you play many mixed games? Do you play mixed games?
Yeah, I just finished third in the 8 game at the Irish Open.
Yep.
And I just won a trophy like a month ago, playing a Big O in Seville. But yeah, I'm definitely getting into the mixed games. I actually traveled to Lake Como in Italy for a private mixed games festival in like some oyster bar and way out of the in the middle of nowhere with like 30 Italian men.
I love
And
it.
it was just the most unbelievable scenery I've ever seen in my life. And we played like I think maybe 30 different games over the course of 3 days. They called it mixed games madness or something like that. But yeah, um, I love the mixed games and I highly recommend them to everybody because it's just going to make your hold'em game better because you start thinking about poker um, in sort of a different light. And Hold'em actually seems unbelievably easy to play once you start applying some concepts you learn in mixed games. So yeah, I love the mixed games.
Well, I think that's a good tidbit for us today. And I'm thinking it's good to be Blaise, is what I'm thinking when I hear the stories. It's good to be Blaise, is what I'm hearing here. I read that you worked for the New York Yankees. What did you do for them?
That's very unfortunate because I'm a big Mets fan, and that having to actually put that shirt on every day was just, soul crushing. I hated every moment of it. But no, I actually, the people I worked with were great, and the atmosphere was great, and getting to watch all this live baseball was great. I took care of people at the ticket window and then also helped them out with like season packages and would hit the phone sometimes. It was one of those things where it's a funny story. Uh, I was at grad school in my flat, and one of the neighbors from upstairs, my boy Chris Mackin from Baltimore, he worked for the Yankees, and we're having a few drinks, watching. I think it was January. We're watching basketball, and yeah, I joke with him to put a good word in for the Yankees. I wasn't being serious, and the next morning, my phone's buzzing at like 10 a.m. And I'm like, who the fuck is calling me? And it was the New York Yankees, and I woke up real fast, and they wanted me to come in, and yeah, uh, I forgot how much they paid me. It wasn't much, but it was great pay. I think it was $20 an hour in 2014, which was actually it was damn good money then, especially as a
Absolutely.
grad student. So yeah, went. I was living in Queens as well, so I had to take I had to take the 2 trains to get up to the Bronx, and same day, sat down, talked it out, and got a deal done. And a few months later, unfortunately, well, fortunately actually, I left the Yankees because I got a gig with Bleacher Report to be a PA,
I love
and
it.
then yeah, and then after that, it was just kind of one thing after another.
Well, it sounds like you're a hardworking guy that is making his way through opportunities presenting themselves. And guess what? That's the American dream, right? Um,
I
what?
do wanna say I'm probably the laziest, hardest working guy. I know, like I am the definition of work smarter, not harder. Cause like I don't know.
Oh,
I get the most while doing the least. I feel like.
I think I could
Um,
learn a lot from you, Blaise, because I think I'm the opposite. I get the least from doing the most, but that's a story
yeah.
for another time. Tell me what were you recognized? Of your accomplishments were you recognized for your sports Emmy?
Oh, so that was for the overall Olympic coverage.
Nice,
Yes, yes. So that was
nice.
for everyone's contributions to the Olympic Games, including our stats and research department. Basically, what I do for the Olympics specifically, I make, yeah, a month and a half, 2 months before the Olympics. I'm supposed to be doing it, but like it's in reality, it's like 2 or 3 weeks before the Olympics starts. I start making. I make a packet that's almost 200 pages deep, looking up stats and information on every single player, on every single team, and the coaches for both the men's and the women's side. And then once I'm at the Olympics, I'm sitting next to the commentators, feeding them live relevant stats to make the broadcast really well. I make them sound really smart on the broadcast, basically.
Right, right. And you just love that, don't you? I can just see you like the mad scientist typing in that data, looking it up, and just happy as a clam in mud.
Well, yeah, that's like 5 minutes before I got on these spaces. I was doing research for the World Cup. I'm doing a little bit of you know, last minute research that I should have been doing about a month and a half ago.
Well, but when you're good, you're good. You can whip that information out quickly, and you've been doing it long enough that I'm sure you're on top of your game. There's no doubt in my mind, and I've just met you. Before we get knee deep into the next thing I want to bring up, I just want to say a few things to my listeners because as we continue to paint like a bigger picture about the poker media, I want to remind my listeners about how many times we've discussed here in Spaces about how poker media differs from their counterparts. An example being that they are paid by the operators in many cases versus having advertisers, which sometimes cuffs their reporting. Blaise, do you think some of the problems with poker media would be solved if there were more mainstream sponsors and advertisers like Pepsi, Geico, or even Aflac?
So this is like a complicated question because uh, basically what poker media needs, just like the rest of media in general, is to not be kind of owned by people with other controlling interests. Uh, Basically, if you got GG Poker, this isn't an example, but if, for example, you had GG Poker owning Poker News, for example, they wouldn't be able to talk shit about GG Poker, even if GG Poker was doing something wrong. So,
Well,
there's
and that's kind of where I was going with this because we here in Spaces have had this discussion many a days because we feel like some of the coverage throughout poker tournament series or throughout the year, not only at the WSOP, that the reporting doesn't seem thorough enough or there's a hush hush order because they're not reporting it. And so we feel like and we've had these discussions that if they could just come up with some sponsors and advertisers, then they wouldn't be, bowing down to the ones that are paying them essentially.
So my thoughts on sponsors and advertisers in poker, I think, is a little bit different than where you're going. My thought is that there should be sponsors in poker in order to pay the operators in order for players to not pay rake. Or that's where I think the future of poker is. I think if you take rake out of the equation and you let people play for 100% of the prize pool, and then you also have mainstream sponsors on top of that, then that solves a lot of issues in the poker community.
Well, and I agree with you, but today I just kind of wanted to talk about poker media because of what I've witnessed myself, just trying to get my first article published in the last month, and then reading your article that you put out on Substack, how to click out media killed Card Player magazine. And so I'm just referring to sponsorships for Polka Media in particular, because we here have had many discussions on how an operator is, we've actually had an operator in a space, tell us, um, you know, that information didn't get out because we told them not to put it out, kind of thing. And so that's kind of where I'm going with it, Blaise.
Yeah, and that's 100% true. Like even when I was with journalistic or journalism outlets like the Poker News and the Poker Orgs and Card Player, like I've been told many times, like we can't run the story because we so and so, and I don't think that's really fair to
It
anybody,
isn't.
which is why I'm happy to have my own Substack and write poker stories that I find interesting independently without any being tethered to anything. I mean, I'm not really getting paid for it. Only a couple people have ever thrown me a couple shekels for my words because I put up everything for free. But it's a good
Right.
outlet, and I actually, I'm somebody who is in the poker industry basically to try. I want to fix things. There's a lot that's wrong. There's a lot that's not right, and there's a lot of money involved, but not a lot of people actually making decisions, and not a lot of ways for these hard-hitting stories to come out unless you have independent media. Like nobody would have wrote about the whole clickout media story because, for example, a lot of these companies like uh, they're Clickout's a potential future buyer.
Right.
So they can't really talk shit about somebody that might try to buy their company one day. This was true with Poker News. Poker News was nearly bought by Clickout Media. And fortunately, I can't really dive too much into it, but the right messages got to the right people in order to stop that from happening. But that's we're already at a point where the entire journalistic factory in poker might get shut down very soon because of these
Well,
kind of parasitic.
and I'm going to
Uh,
tell you, I felt that in the last 5 weeks, just with my little bitty story. I'm going to tell you the correspondence I had with different publications had me more concerned than I already was about poker media. And it was a bird's eye view that I really wish I'd never had because I think it was better that I had rosy glasses on to a certain extent. But let's talk about your article for a few minutes. In the article, you call out ClickOut as a parasitic SEO company. Can you explain to the listeners what an SEO company is?
well, I do write about it in the article. What basically there's a parasitic SEO company. What they do, their main goal is to make quick money. And the way they do it is like 6 steps. Number one, they buy a legitimate website like Card Player or Poker News, and they'll leave the homepage and the front page of these companies running as if nothing's changed. They still employ legitimate journalists who still cover legitimate stories, but they'll also have some of their, you know, uh, self-interests involved
Right.
in the story so as well. And then number two, they'll fill up the rest of the website with SEO articles and affiliate links. And even in the legitimate journalism, they jack the shit out of it with SEO. And then, the third thing that happens is because Google still thinks they're a legitimate website, like they still think Card Player is a legitimate website, they climb up the Google search ratings with a lot of stuff. And number four, they acquire a ton of income via affiliate links. And how this happens is, if you sign up for a poker site through an article that you see online. You click their link. Then the website who posted that link will get money in either one of two ways. They'll either get a flat fee, or the most common way, which is a real huge winner, is that they get a percentage of a player's losses for the rest of their lives. So this way of making money is insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and so
It's
after
crazy. Rev sharing.
So Google eventually will catch on to this. It might take them a year. It might take them 2 years. It might take them longer, but eventually they'll de-index them from Google, which means, say, Card Player Magazine were to get de-indexed. That means they'll never show up in the first few pages of a Google search ever again. And then once that happens, whoever the click out will see whoever is working on the project, get rid of all the employees, and they'll stop working on the website, and it will get completely abandoned. And
crazy. And in the meanwhile, ClickOut is making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars.
oh, it's not millions; it's tens and hundreds of millions of dollars, because they have done this with well over 300 sites, and that list is continuing to grow, because this is not just Card Player. Card Player is small potatoes. They've taken over crypto sites, they've taken over other iGaming sites, esports, and some of the biggest names in esports writing have been bought out and shelled out in this way.
Unbelievable. And when I started reading your article, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so. I'd never heard of an SEO company or the theory, the theory, so to speak, behind what they're doing. And so when I was reading your article, I actually had to read it twice because I was like, am I missing? Like, what am I missing? Let me go back, and I reread it, and then I was like, no, I'm not missing anything. Like, I get it, and it's not a pretty picture. And it's not good for us, the consumers, at all. It's good for them because they're making, as you said, hundreds of millions doing what they do. Can you talk about like the non-existent writers situation that they do?
Um, so this is one of the topics in there that I'm not as familiar about, because it wasn't happening while I was at the company. It's only happened afterwards. But they're now producing AI written articles with AI writers that don't exist. It's
Unbelievable.
it's really just, a giant slap in the face to, real
I think I know
journalists.
somebody here on Twitter that would fit into that writing category. But anyway, speaking of using AI for writing, and by the way, my very first article, I've not used any AI in any of my writings through my life. But anyway, what do you feel about people using AI for writing articles or even books?
It's plagiarism.
It's terrible.
All
It's
AI writing is AI reading basically billions upon billions of articles and trying to mimic a coherent writing style with information that's most of the time not 100% accurate. It's I'm extremely anti-AI, not only in a journalistic sense, but also like people shouldn't be using it for graphics. Like artists need to be paid, writers need to be paid. It's a big skill to have. It's an expensive skill to have, and AI writing just doesn't sound right. AI art just doesn't look good. And
Well, I find it interesting that it's very easy to spot an AI product, right? And I have a real issue with people using AI for writing and then putting their name on the byline. I really do. Now, if they put their name and then put in parentheses, AI assisted, fine, perfect. At least I know going into it that AI was used. And I'm going to tell you something. I never read an article that is bylined with AI used. I don't even read it.
No, and I mean, I'm extremely anti-AI. I go to the point where if I see anybody using AI art for anything, especially if it's a business, I just won't use their products. I won't buy a thing from them. It's very disingenuous, it's lazy, and it's taking money out of the hands of artists and writers. So, yeah, and not only that, the environmental impacts of AI and data centers is just absolutely tragic, and we should get rid of them immediately.
We have a big battle in my county right now over a data center. It is a feud. It's like the Hatfields and McCoys over here, honey. There is a huge feud in our county about approval being sought for a data center, and people are pushing hard against it. I don't know if they took the vote last week. I don't know. I've been too busy to follow up on that. And anyway, so I get it. It definitely is affecting every community, whether people realize it or not. In the article, you mentioned that ClickOut is being accused of extremely deep crypto scams. Um, what do we know about that? Like, what kind of scam are they running?
So, I'm not the most crypto savvy person in the world. Unlike a lot of poker players, I don't really get into it as much.
Right, me
Other
neither.
than some, some investments here and there, more stable investments, and then use it on poker sites. But basically, we're talking promoting a coin that they actually owned and then rug pulling it.
Okay,
Right.
rug pull. Okay, I kind of thought that's where we were going with it, but I just wanted to ask you that question.
Well, the thing is, what the big problem, it's already a big problem, for anybody to be rug pulling coins. But then when you are posing as a legitimate website, a card player magazine, or any
Right,
of the 300 plus websites where they've actually, where it used to be a trustworthy, reliable source, and people aren't aware that it's being run by new owners who are disingenuous, when like maybe some 45, 50-year-old patsy out there is wants to go on card player and read the info they
right,
have about a brand new coin, and they can trust card player because it's a brand name that's been around since
right.
forever. And in reality, it's just a bunch of scam artists who are profiting off these kind of people. It's like basically the new Nigerian prince out here.
And it's so unfortunate because, some of the things that are going on in every, the crypto world, the poker world, the NFT world, whatever, the soccer world, the football world, there's so many great things going on that when we have scammers infiltrate, it's just so disappointing because they're ruining a good thing, right? And the rest of us have to pay for it way or another. And it sometimes can be so discouraging for the people that are trying to do right and do right by others, for sure. Could you give us some examples of the clickbait links that that click out may use to get people to pad their pockets, so to speak, by clicking on them?
Well, this is less links, but it's more like they're like back pages where, say, for example, say you're living in Tennessee, right?
Right.
And you want to look up best poker sites in Tennessee or best offshore sites in Tennessee, they will make sure that they have done all the parasitic SEO on these reputable websites in order to climb up the Google rankings and be some of the first ones that you see. And then, then you go on Card Player, one of the other sites, and you say, "Oh man, best offshore poker site in Tennessee."
Right.
And because they own Coin Poker is always going to be number one.
Right.
And if you decide to click on any of the other links and make a deposit, they're making money off of that as well because they're using affiliate links. And so um, they're basically buying these reputable websites also because once you have a reputable website, you get to go up on Google a lot faster than, say, if you started your own website.
Right. And I want the listeners to hear this from you because I think it's important to know when you're clicking those links, are you really clicking something that Card Player is putting out there for you? Or are you clicking a parasitic SEO company's, way of making a dollar? Or in this case, hundreds of millions of dollars. So,
Honestly,
consumers
yeah.
beware.
Honestly, you shouldn't ever click anyone's referral link to sign up to anything because you're just funding another machine that doesn't need to be funded. If anything, get your friends to send you a refer a friend link if they're on a website, or just sign up
Right.
without a link. Use a code. There's codes all over the internet. You can go on ACR's, for example. You go on ACR, their homepage. They'll have promo codes for you. You definitely don't need to be clicking referral links.
Right on. And I think we just need to keep nailing that topic home because I think, not everybody's, well educated. And I don't mean this in an assaulting way. People just get on the internet, they Google something, and then they're on their way. So they're not like diving into what that Google search is doing or what you're doing by clicking that link on Card Player. So it's just about having these conversations to continue to educate everyone, especially me, because what I have found out in the last month, I promise you, I would have never dreamt of in a million years. And part of that is a little bit of disappointing too, for sure. Tell us, I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Tell us what your next move is. You're going to go to LA when for the World Cup?
So right now, I just got back from the Malta Poker Festival. My girlfriend was the social media host and the
Love it.
overall host of that, and I did table commentary, and that was right after the Irish Open and Party Poker Seville and a bunch of other stuff. So I'm in England for a couple weeks, resting up, and
Right.
then Peggy and I will be going to the U.S. We're gonna actually go play the circuit stop in New Orleans. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, we're gonna do that. We're not gonna be playing the main. We're only gonna be there for like the first week or 10 days or something. I forget how many days we got, but we're gonna be spending a good amount of time there, but exploring a lot as well. I haven't been down in that part of the country in a long time. I don't spend much time in the US anyway nowadays. So that'll be really nice. And then fly up to New York City, hang out with some college friends, stay there for Memorial Day weekend, spend a couple weeks in my hometown. She's never been there, so that's going to be pretty cool. And then I'll be in LA for a month doing World Cup.
Love it.
And then my girlfriend, Pocket Peg, um, she'll be doing a bunch of those LA cash streams on
Right.
TVs, which she's never done before, so that's pretty cool. And then after that, I'm gonna go to Vegas and play the main event, and then probably just bounce around the Aria, the Win, Venetian, play a bunch of those tournaments. I'm starting to not really be as excited for the WSOP as I used to, just because the way the tournaments have been run and the ever increasing rakes. And I mean, it's just a lot more comfortable to play poker in any other casino in Vegas. So I'm going to be bouncing around those unless I make a super deep run the main, of course. And then after that, I'm gonna do a little bit of a grindhouse situation with a few friends and my girlfriend. We got to decide whether it's in Mexico or Brazil, and we're gonna do that for a few months. And not sure what we're gonna do after that until October when we have to come back for her brother's wedding.
Listen, I think you should get off your lazy ass and do something the next few months. It sounds to me you're not as lazy as or as non-working as you were claiming earlier. Sounds to me like you're booked up. I'm going to introduce you to two of my friends that are joining us on the panel. I see Kelly down there, and some people have been coming and going. Um, First, my co-host is Isaac, and then Miss Shea is here as well. If either one of you have any questions or comments for Blaise, please go right ahead right now.
Only thing I'll say is when you come to LA, tap in. We'll get some tacos.
Oh, fuck, man. You know what? I actually used to run my own taco stand on the west coast of Mexico. So, yeah, you're speaking my language, brother.
All day, bro. Hell yeah.
I love it. Go ahead, Miss Shea. Did you want to say something?
Oh yeah, first and foremost, man, I appreciate all the information you given. Shit, hella guilty of tapping on these sites. You know, I do a lot of online gambling and searching for US friendly casinos. Like you just sent the shockwave through me, like, wait, I've been doing it all wrong. So I appreciate that. And secondly, man, you living the life most people dream to live, man, being able to work when you want, travel how you want, you know. So my hats off to you and your lady, man. Continue doing what you do, man. Continue spreading the information because someone like me, I play poker, um, mainly online. When I got into this space, I came across Green Visor Gang, and they've been my poker home and pretty much my teachers in the game. And so to hear a lot of the things that you're speaking on is just it opened my eyes to a lot of different things that we discuss. But to hear it from someone that's worked in these fields and witnessed firsthand is amazing. So thank you.
No problem, brother. I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, somebody's got to do it. And I think too many people are afraid of losing their jobs in poker media or being blacklisted, so to speak. And the fact that, I'm in good enough graces with just about everybody. And I also do not care. I'd rather get the truth out than worry about job security. So I have no problem getting stories like this out, and I think this is just going to be the first of a long line of um, these kind of stories where it's like the ugly side of poker that nobody wants to talk about. Because I think everybody really needs to hear um, how it actually is. It's
Right.
sunshine and rainbows.
Well, and Blaise, we thank you for this article for really spilling the beans for the rest of us. It is a shady side of poker media and, business. And it's definitely affecting all poker media, as well as the players need to be aware of what the hell is going on behind the scenes that is taking away from our experiences for sure. And I have been really not very disappointed, but yet disappointed in a lot that I have seen and heard in the last month. And I know that Charlie Carroll and Owen have come out with some, tweets and videos and stuff in the last few days. We're not even going to get into it because I'm going to tell you, like Blaise said in an email to me, it is a developing story. We certainly do not have all the facts. About what's going on with coin poker. It seems to be like there is a lot going on there. And I'm certainly not an expert. And do I have an opinion? Yeah, but it's a very shallow opinion because guess what? I haven't dove into it. I've been too busy. And so I'll keep my opinion to myself. But it's out there on Twitter. You can certainly go see it for yourself and watch the videos. Um, Again, a negative light in the world of poker. When so many people are working hard to make it a positive experience, it's very disheartening sometimes. Um, to hear about the dark clouds of poker for sure. Go ahead, Miss Shea.
Real quick, Mr. Blaze, is your article in your LinkedIn or is it somewhere on your profile where I can find it so I can bookmark it to check it out later?
So I've got it pinned at the top of my Twitter.
Hold on, let me see if
I've
I could
got
share it in this space.
Yeah, I've got my own Substack. It's called Range Advantage, and you can go to it at rangeadvantage.substack.com. Over there, I don't just talk about stories like this. I also write about poker strategy and stories from on the road and, uh, you know, hand history stuff. And I've also got this series that I started in December where I talk through every single hand that I play in this $22 tournament that I studied into for $2 that I won 15K in. The series is not finished, but I've been working on it, and that's kind of how my Substack originally popped off in the first place. But yeah, if you guys could all go over there and subscribe and read my stuff, I would love that and appreciate it.
Well, and I put it in the purple pill, you guys. So there, I shared the link from his Twitter thread page, whatever. So you guys can click on that and get over to that full article. Everybody should read it for sure. It is eye opening. It is something we all need to kind of have an eye on. And an ear to the ground on because it does affect us, whether we realize it or not. It really does affect us and what he's outlined in that article is going to affect us for years to come. I'm afraid, when people find a honey pot for money, they're going to keep using it until they're put out of business. So, and in this case, they have like over 300 sites that they're using, which is mind-boggling.
And mind,
But
mind you, all this is illegal. They're
right,
not allowed to do any of this.
right, but yet they are for
And
hundreds
these are the
of
owners of
millions.
coin poker. And certainly I wouldn't put a dime on that website, considering who the owners are. And I know that there's very limited options as a poker player in the United States, which is, it's awful.
Right.
And I would just highly recommend, despite coin poker having so many offerings and actually being one of the few sites, just don't do it. Just don't put your money with them. I would rather trust some private club GG. There's a really, really great website called QQPK, which is, just like coin poker, but it's based in Asia and it's a smaller website, but it's got great tournaments every day. Do that. Use ACR. ACR is fine.
I'm going to
But
tell you, I tell people to do the home games. Do the home games on ACR, do the home games on GG Poker. Green Visor Gang has a great group of people, and they do a lot of low stake stuff, and it's a fun community. To me, the home games are the safest way to go. Now, if you want a big stakes, that's different. You got to go to your ACR, whatever, you want to use. But I'm telling you, You just got to be careful. And tell us, Blaise, who are the owners of Coin Poker?
Click out media.
Yeah, but do we know who owns Clickout Media?
That is a very good question. Not really. No, it's kind of like
Nobody will answer that question.
it's kind of like um it's kind of like the world or WPT now after their new ownership change. Like they don't know who owns that anymore. It's just some random person who is on a these video calls as a silhouette named Agent Zero and Agent Seven. That's truth, by the way. Nobody knows who owns WPT. Nobody knows who owns ClickOut, but we do know some of the founders of ClickOut, who are the Grunwergs, who, their background is like they have like some British cutlery thing that was making like several $1 million a year. And then the one Grunwerg went into it, as the founder of this Clickout Media, which was originally Phoenixio, Adam Grunwerg. And even within the company, the one who is sitting in as their head of HR is his sister. So they clearly got, a finger on the pulse throughout the entire company from top to bottom. But like
Right.
I said, nobody knows who owns this. It could be, some random Asian or Middle Eastern conglomerate for all I know. I have no idea. None at
Well,
all.
and I found it interesting when Charlie Carroll and I forget who else it was in a live space last week and unwilling to tell the names of the owners that they work for or work with or whatever their relationship is. And I'm like, well, it doesn't bode well with me as a consumer. If you are representing a company and you don't want to tell me the name of the owners, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to do business with that company. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
What if it's NDAs?
Nobody knows who owns this. And then what really, struck a chord with me after I wrote this article was nobody from Coin Poker said a damn word about this to me or commented or anything. There was no defense. And then there was absolutely no coverage of this either, aside from, oh, well, he announced a couple weeks ago that, they're not printing Card Player magazine. So there's a lot of silence about this topic at very high levels, which it bothers me to
That's
think
a red
that.
flag.
Well, it makes me think that Clickout Media are trying to buy most of the independent journalism that's left, or even the not so independent journalism, because otherwise they would have covered this story already. Unless
Right.
they have Coin Poker affiliations already that we don't know about.
Well, and I'm going to tell you, when I read your article, it put so much into perspective for me because I'm sorry, but somebody's at my front door, so I'm trying to make my way to my front door. In shopping out my article, first let me give a little background. So, a writer in the poker media reached out to me and said, "Hey, why don't you write an article?" I was like, "Okay." I love to write, and sorry, I'm breathing heavy. I had to go down the stairs. Um, And when I submitted it to different publications, some of them wanted to charge me money to print my article. Wait, what? Like, when did we go? Like, how did we get to this place that we're not paying the writers for their writing? What is that about?
Yeah, I mean, ever since AI really took over, like 2 years ago, um, I'm pretty close with a lot of casino and poker writers as well. the rates that people are charging are way less than what they used to be. Now, considering that AI is starting to fail and all these people are going back to human writers, it's really encouraging and rates are suddenly going up again. But like people that have 20 years of experience working for every single big company in the poker and casino industry and not being able to get, some bullshitty middle class job that's already below what they were previously making, it's kind of sad.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get my groceries in because Walmart decided to come early. I think it's kind of mind-boggling. Like, what other business has this ever happened to? Whatever, like, what other employees are at the mercy of the AI in this realm?
Yeah, I mean, it goes all the way from the poker industry, casino industry, writing, the death of newspapers, even nowadays the stuff you watch on Netflix and Hulu is starting to become lower quality because they're just asking AI for prompts and to spit out scripts and it's just coming out as garbage.
Well, and let's not forget, a few short months ago, Alan Keating, called out when they were working on that poker related show. And the producers used AI to fill in some of this, places where they didn't have Alan's comments or whatever, and actually put words into his mouth. Like, I'm not about that. And I'm so happy Alan spoke out.
Yeah, and real intelligence will always, rise above this fake bullshit. Like anyone can type anything into AI and, feel like they're sounding smart, but it will never come across as, legitimate as somebody who's using their own words, they're using their own art, they're using, their own opinions. Like you can't ask a machine to give you an opinion. You got to
Right.
come up with that yourself, and you got to stand for something. Because then, once you're out there in the real world and trying to have a conversation, and you can't be dependent on these machines. You got to stand for something.
And it has come from the heart, right? Your knowledge base and from your heart and what you believe in. And of course, AI can't do any of that. And it's really a shame that right now, because it's so new, that it's being tested out in so many ways that we agree with and don't agree with. But hopefully, the reins will be pulled in and maybe, it won't be affecting us so negatively once people wrap their heads around why we don't want this to be happening. But I think the more we know, the better it is.
I mean, I'm old school in my thinking. Like we don't need more technological advances. I think we're pretty good where we're at. You know what I mean? Like we could all be naked and eating fruit and frolicking through fields if everything was divvied up fairly. You know what I mean? Like
Well, I don't believe in divvying up something I worked hard for. But I get your point that we could be frolicking in the forest and enjoying life. But yeah, I do believe people should work for what they have, and if there's an issue and they need help, I have a helping hand 100% of the time. I like to do a little bit of rapid fire. Do you mind playing?
yeah, go for it.
All right, just a little something fun. I'm going to give you a couple of options. You can choose one or you can pass. Comedic movies or horror movies?
Uh, both. I'm currently in a pre-90s thriller type of mood, but it depends on how my life's going.
I love it. Pizza, burger, or salad?
The pizza and the burgers. I'm from Western New York, so I've got some very strong opinions about the pizza.
Yeah, I'm from Chicago, so we could battle that out on another day. Do the dishes or do the cooking?
Oh, cooking. I need a dishwasher in any place that I live. Otherwise, it's a disaster.
I love it. Wine or whiskey?
I'm a big wino for sure.
Awesome. Beach or jungle?
Beach. I fucking hate mosquitoes, and I just thrive in the sun.
Love that. Gummy bears or Sour Patch Kids?
Definitely the Sour Patch Kids. I need to feel something.
Texting or a phone call?
Texting. I can't be asked to talk.
Come on, Blaise. A couple of things. One, I want to invite you to the meetup game if you're in Vegas on June 26th, 2 o'clock at the Bellagio. It's just a friendly 1-3 game. We do lots of splash the pots, but most importantly, we meet each other in real life and have some fun. So consider yourself invited if you were in town, and of course, your lovely gal as well. I want to give you an opportunity to plug anything you're working on that you want us to know about. And then I'm going to give the floor to ASG because he came up, I'm sure, to ask a question or give us some comments. So, anything you want to plug, Blaise?
And I don't actually have anything to plug right now, except, follow me on my Substack where you can find the article we talked about. That's rangeadvantage.substack.com. I'm pretty popular on Twitter and Instagram, so you can follow me at Blaise Bourgeois on Twitter and at PokerBlaze on Instagram. Um, yeah, I don't got anything to plug right now. I'm kind of keeping it low key.
No worries. And again, you guys, I put the link to that article in the purple pill. ASG, welcome. And please go ahead with your comments or questions.
Yeah, actually, I just joined up because I just had a few minutes spare from work. But I guess just to kind of clarify when Blaze was talking earlier about not knowing with WPT that I believe he was referring to global because somehow global and gold were those are both companies we don't know who owns them, but the main we kind of know about Pliska.
Yes, you are correct.
He hasn't been doing much social media lately either. It's funny you brought up his name, ASG, because it's his birthday today. So I went to wish him a happy birthday on Facebook. And I was like, wait, he hasn't been posting. So he must be busy with life. And I hope it's treating him well. Anything else, ASG?
No, I'll listen to the recording later.
Okay, bud. Thank you. Appreciate you. Um, Isaac, did you have anything else?
Hmm. Mixed games are fun. PLO6 is fucking addicting. I definitely like Big O as well. Aside from that, I would say that this was a hell of a interview. Um, I like a lot of the takes. Definitely gonna listen to this one back. Appreciate you, Blaze, and appreciate everybody else.
Thanks for the words, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Isaac. I appreciate you. And Blaise, don't forget to take him up on his offer of a food date. He knows where to go. Trust me. Miss Shay, did you have anything you'd like to say before we leave?
Just once again, appreciate you, Blaze, for all the information. This was great to hear. Um, Other than that, everybody be blessed, man. Be kind to one another. Tell the ones you love them. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, Miss Shay. So, same to you, buddy.
Thank you, man.
Blaise, it's been a pleasure. I told you we'd try to keep it short because you're not exactly feeling well today. So I appreciate you going a little bit longer than maybe you even expected. But also want to invite you on May 25th through the end of the WSOP. We will do 53 days of daily spaces to cover all Vegas poker as it's happening. So please feel free to stop in and give us an update on what you're doing. If you are putting out any staking packages, you can come promote those or whatever. We will be here every day at 9 a.m. Vegas time, and we hope you stop by and update us on your travels.
Thank you. I'll be in LA, balls deep in World Cup coverage from the entire month of June until July 4th. So it's going to be a bit weird not playing the whole WSOP and not having my finger on the pulse. But I will try to stop by and see what's going on.
We would love that. And guess what? We would love to hear about what's going on in LA at that soccer venue. So we talk about everything here. I've actually had an Olympic tennis player on a space before, interviewing her, a good friend of ours. And so, yeah, we're willing to listen and support whatever you're doing. So please stop by. I appreciate you stopping by today. It's been a pleasure. And don't be a stranger, Blaise.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. And thank you for everybody that's listening. Appreciate all of you and have a good Friday evening, everybody. Bye.